bank. Window down, yelling out money, anything. Ayy, ooh, got the foot on the gas. Pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the back. Ayy, got the foot on the gas. Pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast. Ayy, ayy, let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss. Ayy.
Hey guys, before we jump into the episode, I wanted to let you know it is brought to you by Denim. As a business owner myself, I personally know the importance of financial stability and preserving cash flow to help navigate through any freight market. With Denim's comprehensive service offering, you now have an all-in-one financial partner whose platform includes factoring, payments, freight audit, document collection management, and analytics, which help keep your business financially healthy and increase your team's time to focus on revenue-producing activities. You can also take advantage of Denim's free credit check, which they perform on all of your customers. And Denim will proactively reach out to you if they spot any signs of credit deterioration. Finally, Denim always pays your carriers first. As a broker, this is imperative to preserving your credit score in the market, which ultimately helps you become a broker of choice to your carrier partners. Are you ready to learn more? Visit denim.com to schedule a demo today. Just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insights into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. And I'm going to waste no time with my guest. He's a repeat guest, guys. We're here to talk about insurance. We're here to talk about cargo claims, all of that stuff, because this is a never-ending topic, and we always need to be more prepared on that. So I got my man Cam with Valiant Trucking Insurance on the show today. Cam, thank you so much for taking the time to join me.
What's up, brother? Happy Friday. Let's go.
Dude, happy Friday to you as well, man. And dude, it is. Obviously I try and get you on like once a month, because the value that you provide to the industry about just the behind the scenes insurance information that you can't necessarily get out there. But it's like, man, there's just always something that's popping up out there in regards to, and especially right now with identity theft, all of that stuff. It's like, how do you actually protect your company? And we went through a situation here recently where I'm like, damn, thank God we actually vetted our carrier to make sure they were the ones who were hauling that load, because I couldn't imagine if like a double brokered carrier, something happened to the cargo. Like, did they even have insurance and stuff like that, man? So I'm like, dude, this is a great topic for today.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. And I must be moving up the ranks because you got me on a Friday show, bud. Look at us.
Dude,
this is amazing.
I didn't even know that was like a top spot, man. I just go off of my podcast tracker. So Christian behind the scenes on my team, he just lists out all the days of the month. And then I just go in and just like fill it out. Like obviously my advertisers have a couple of days like that we set in there throughout the month. But I just, dude, if I know you're a Friday only guy now, man, then we'll just roll with
No,
that.
I don't even know if it was or wasn't. Actually, I used to do, I think, sales meetings Friday morning, so it was always a conflict on that. But then I moved those to Mondays, so we're Motivation Mondays on that now, and changed up kind of the format there a while back. So,
Dude, I like that. And I like that shirt you're rocking as well. You guys went
thanks,
in and
brother.
did some upgrades to the logo and everything. It looks sick, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're making a push. Like, we're gonna start doing a lot more educational type content as well. Make a big push for social and more viral type things. And then yeah, website refresh, redesign, logos, and just getting out there, man. I feel like the last couple years is, maintenance and overhaul and build out of process procedures, and take care of obviously our current client base plus referrals that are coming in. But we all know this market sucked, man. Like, it's been a grind for everybody, not just in certain segments, but like even on the insurance piece. Like, non-renewals have gone up, just cancellations, people going out of business. Like, there's so many things that happen. So it's like, we're just making sure we're buttoned up and bringing our best foot forward for our clients and trying to deliver the best experience we possibly can. So we've spent a lot of time fine tuning that.
So I'm pivoting here a little bit on a topic of conversation because I want to talk to you about that, right? Like, as a founder, we're always going to be immune to market shifts, whether it's insurance or in freight here and everything. So it's like, how do you handle that, right? Because it's like, it's easy to only post the highlight reels on social media. And I think that's like 99% of what's out there, right? It's like, I personally think 99% of social media is all bullshit lies, but there is that 1% of people that are like speaking the truth about how hard it is and like what you have to go through. And, a lot of it for me, man, is it's like, hey, I like to tell the truth because I want people to not quit and know that like they're not alone. Like, you're not the only one who's going through it. Cause like I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day who he went out on his own. He's actually my barber. Shout out, Mike. And he made a pivot here recently as well about stuff, but it's like, man, everybody goes through this stuff, right? And the most important quality in all of it is, man, you just cannot quit. Like, you have to find a way to make it work.
Luckily for me, so there's a really good book. I think it's Ryan Holiday. He has Obstacle is the Way, and I recommend reading that book. But my mind's always kind of been wired that way to like analyze, like take in, assess, and analyze, like whatever the, let's call it opportunity, but problem or shift or this, there's always a way to do it. And I've always, I started in insurance in 2007, and 07, 08 was our last major recession, right? For that time frame. And so everyone's getting out, people are shutting down, how hard it is, you shouldn't do this, this and that. Well, I was 20 and I didn't know any different. And I just cold calling and just started dialing for dollars, if you will, because I didn't know any different. And that's all I ever knew. But then as I have evolved over the last 20 years, you see the trends or market shifts and the evolutions in business, and you go from kind of being a hustler and you kind of build up this thing that's nice, but like it's not what you want it to be, or it's not as good as you want it to be, or maybe customer experience falls here because like we're not perfect, right? We deal with people, and our clients are people. So like when we get a complaint or we have an issue, we call, like a lot of times it's me, but if the person made a mistake, for example, they're going to call, apologize, own the mistake, talk through it, and then come up with a solution or give the options of whatever it could be. Like, it's not very often, but it happens. And so, just making sure we button up the back end with the automation, the KPIs, the accountability. And then for the sales right now, I mean, you're cold calling, dude. Well, you got to call, I feel like 10 times more people now to get the same amount of people interested in talking to you as it used to be. Right. And now it's just different though. How do you differentiate yourself? What do you do? That's why we did the refresh, the rebrand. We're coming from, a standpoint of education and trying to place, good customers with the top insurance companies and making sure that they have what they actually need too. Like, we're not just trying to write the account for quick commission or anything like that. Luckily, we're pretty fortunate in that sense. Like, it's truly like, help us understand your goals. What are your needs? What do you have on the horizon? How do we help you get there and grow, and like kind of walk side by side or coach you sometimes even, right? We spend a lot of time coaching on business. So So yeah, man, it's been good, but it's a grind though. I mean, there's the ups and the downs and people going out of business, losing. It'd be like you losing a large lane or something. You know, I started the last 2 years losing large accounts that just went out of business, and it was like, oh, sweet.
So when you're calling these guys, and again, Sonny Sharma wants the new. He wonders if that's a Valley Insurance golf hat.
You know, it's funny. Sunny is
I
Chris asked, he goes, "Is that a Valley hat?" He goes, "I
yeah,
want one."
dude.
It
I
is
actually,
not.
Sonny, I said the same thing.
But but I'm gonna make some calls, Sonny. I'm gonna say, you know what? I need to get endorsed by this brand. So
Dude, those are sick, man. I like that. It's just a clean hat. I like
yeah,
how it's not like it's just not loud, man. Like I like
yeah.
clean, simple hats and clothes. Obviously, that's why I wear the same orange shirts every single day. But no, dude, I like when you're out there talking to these because you're saying like these guys are going out of business, man. What is it that they're saying is the reason why? Is it more like they're just exhausted? Like, dude, I just can't put up with the uncertainty anymore. Like, is there a resounding thing, or is it like, because like I mean, I just saw an article the other day, and I broke it down on the show, man, where it's like, dude, expenses are up like 40% in the last couple of years from and like that's repairs in everything across the board for fleets.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a mix because obviously we're still dealing with some residual flow from like the COVID spike and the boom, right? Like the amount of new motor carriers and things that came in the market during that time was unprecedented. Like it was insane. So I think you're still getting that. But then I think you're getting now to the tail end where age becomes a factor. Like average age of a trucking company owner is, fairly old, right? So you're getting people now with that are starting to kind of near retirement or health issues. We just had, and it's really sad, and we didn't even know this. We weren't notified until actually the Great West, the insurance company, got a hold of us and was like, hey, we just got the notice on when we ran this guy's commercial motor vehicle record that he had passed away. And it was crazy. Like we had talked to this gentleman like frequently, like he was a great customer. And so we got that notice from them and it was like, oh my gosh. And he hadn't responded for a few weeks. Well, that was the reason. So we sent his wife some flowers and an arrangement, and, we still were able to work and get everything sorted out for what they needed so we can get them a refund and things like that. But yeah, I mean, and so there's all kinds of things that happen there, right? For the business piece, I know, the game, man, it's cyclical. And I think the people that jumped in the boom and they thought they can do it, they got high equipment loan or high interest equipment loans, or, their engine blew up or whatever the case may be. And maybe they weren't prepared for that. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons that people want to go back and drive just company truck for the stability piece, and they don't have to worry anymore because, I don't, that's not my mindset, but I get it. Right. So
Yeah, man, I think it's an awakening of that, like the cyclical nature of everything, because it's like when things are good, you always want to think it's going to be good. And that's why I caution a lot of these freight brokers that are out there right now, like, hey, just because it's easy to cover freight today doesn't mean it's always going to be this way. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you have to be very, very careful. And like, we're in an extended period of time where, yeah, brokers might not be making business might not be flowing in as much, but it's still easy to cover freight. Right. So and that's been going on for 5 years now, probably 4.5 years. So it's like, there's a lot of people who have forgot what a tight market actually looks and feels like out there. So it's like, I think that we're at an interesting point right now, right? Where it's like, my gut says like things aren't going to improve for the rest of this year, right? Like that's how we're approaching it. We're going to continue. It's business as usual for us. We're going to continue to put out sales calls. We're going to continue to do what we do. But I feel like the only my gut goes like, dude, we're going to leave on a Friday thinking it was a normal market, and then we're going to come in Monday and it's going to be like fucking tight across the board. And that's like, I feel like how it's going to be.
Well, and I think like and this is an opportunity. So if you start thinking, go back to, like, how can I either game plan, come up with a solution, come up with some strategies, build some relationships. Relationships are key, right? In any industry, and especially sales or B2B business. So it's like, how do I go get relationships with dedicated lanes or expand freight here or try to go after this customer, or hey, I'm trying to build a relationship here because it can help this person here, which can, there's levels to this. And I think this is the time to really hone and fine tune that. And dude, if you got to hustle more, obviously you take care of yourself, but it's like, do more or figure out a different way, or I've got to get in touch with someone, or work on your existing database and ask your friends for referrals. Cause like, people want to help you, especially if they're successful people, like they truly do want to help you. So, there's so many strategies and ways you can kind of overcome this, or look at it as a time, hey, I'm going to actually build out some internal processes, so like going to insurance claims, obviously there's a couple things in this, especially with freight brokerages, it's not required, right? You guys get a surety bond that's required, but insurance is not required. And I can't tell you how many calls I get saying, hey, this just happened. Am I able to like get insurance and backdate it? It's like, no, sorry. Like you're stuck on that. Like, but you should have insurance probably for the next time, because now they're paying $50,000 out of pocket, which is a small claim. And thank God it was a small claim. It wasn't some catastrophic injury or fatality where you got drug into a $10 million lawsuit. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely, man. And I want to talk about that, right? Because it's like, what advice so obviously freight brokers are not required to carry cargo insurance out there, but I want to bring up a situation where, say, the freight broker does carry contingent cargo, or they have adequate coverage on there, but the bills were signed clean. And then after the fact, there was damages, and then there was photos, but the bill of lading is signed clean, and the carrier is essentially going to be absolved. Like, I don't know, man. How does that work?
I don't necessarily think the carrier gets absolved from that, because it's still kind of a kick down liability depending on what they determine, but that could come from loading too, right? Like, did it happen in transit, or did it happen, when they loaded it and they just didn't catch it? And then obviously some motor carriers have cameras in their trucks, right? So then it's like, okay, you go through the same process of just discovery. So you preserve and stop further damages. So, you secure everything, you collect the bill of lading, you pull down any statements, like anything that you need or have, pictures, photo, video, electronic evidence, statement from drivers, anybody you can get in that circumstance. And then just make sure you put it all together. And then it's basically communicate with all parties. Hey, we acknowledge, hey, here's what's going on. Let the carrier know, hey, here's what's going on. We'll keep you in the loop, and then you start the claim. But what'll end up happening is your insurance is going to basically make a determination, do an investigation, and try to figure out, okay, was it your negligence? Is it something that we should cover? In the event of damage, a lot of times it could come to you, but it will probably get dropped or kicked back to the motor carrier.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're going to fight it. Both parties will fight it and put it on the shipper or receiver, right? Somewhere it's like, hey, who messed up? But sometimes it's a shift. Sometimes it's just something that happened in transit. And depending on the extent of the damages, you either choose to cover it out of pocket or go insurance, right?
Yeah. And I think that's that's kind of the part of where it is from like a business development perspective out there, man, is it's like, hey, is this an amount where it's just easier just to eat it and move on with your day? And that's where I feel like, because I know some brokers who, dude, they ended up having to pay like 6 figures out of pocket.
Yeah.
Because
especially hauling equipment, right? Or machinery or things like that.
Yeah,
big things.
This was a refrigerated load. And it was the carrier's insurance denied it. Their own insurance denied it. And they were like, it was their biggest account. They're like, we got to pay for this out of pocket.
Here's a common thing. And this is more, I guess it's freight brokerage specific too. Cause like the biggest prevention, going back to your statement from, fraud, or how do I prevent, some of this or protect myself, is obviously proactive measures with SOPs, making sure that you are buttoned up super tight on checking, making sure you're vetting the motor carrier, making sure that you're running them through, whatever software or program or database you're going to do for, are they on a blacklist? Do they have any double broke? Like, are there any red flags, right? Do I have a list of things that cause red flags? Is their insurance canceled? Have they had a lot of issues on that? Is their safe or good, or is it bad, right? Like if you have a carrier that has safety scores and like out of service left and right, like that's not a good thing necessarily. And the carriers have to know that, because you're going to look at them and be like, bro, is my load even going to get there? Like,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Like, it kind of just, so there's a bunch of things that you'll want to do to prevent that and make sure you have internal processes. So you check that stuff kind of every single time there. Right. And then I think the communication, which I know you're really good at, picking up the phone, just communicating, making sure things are moving. Obviously you can use technology to kind of track loads as well, to check on that. But so going to the refrigerated deal here real quick. A lot of the times, and this is what I see claims happen, and there's a lot of insurance companies that do not cover this, or people don't know, or whatever the case is, it could be a wrong temp. And it could be a wrong temp just simply due to a misunderstanding from bill of lading and whatever. There's a couple things that can change, or the driver just made an error. Hey, we just put it a degree or 2 degrees too cold. All of a sudden it gets to wherever it's going. And who knows? I feel like sometimes it's overflow where they just want to reject it for any reason because they don't have enough room. But they'll reject the load, right, due to temp. And so let's say the load is actually spoiled. I've had this with a load of berries up here in Washington, and the broker's like, "Oh man, you're screwed. Like, that's not covered. Like, I've never had an insurance company cover this." So he called me, and I actually had him with a great insurance company. Shout out to Great West, actually, because they're probably one of my favorite companies I work with. But anyways, in this scenario, given the circumstances, and keep in mind, not every claim's the same or treated the same. It's always like you got to go through and adjust it and figure out what's what. But in this circumstance, I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure we're okay. Like, wrong temp load is not something that would not provide coverage. Like, we got to figure out what's going on. But like, I think we're all right. At the end of the day, his claim was actually covered, and his broker called me and was like, dude, I've never had a company have coverage here. Is it okay if I refer you all my customers and my trucking folks? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So, not every insurance is created equal, and cheap insurance isn't always good. Or when you need it, like, you're not going back and being like, man, I'm so glad I saved $6,000 on this policy I bought, and then you just not covered. Right. And it's like, that's why we spend so much time understanding what our clients do. It's like, dude, I need to know what you do so I can advise you. Now, whether you choose to buy it or not, hey, at least I gave you the right advice. And if you want to take it back and go to your guy, great, or work with whoever you want. But it's like, just get the right coverage, man. That way, that's why you're getting insurance. So
yeah, Sonny brings up a good point here. E&O stands for errors and omissions, you guys. Errors and omissions.
Yes, sir. I think real quick, because I know we're kind of pressing time, but like, just, I know we wanted to go over claims, but like prior to claims, obviously preventive measures, SOPs, standardization in your business, and like, you're the business owner, so you got to figure all that stuff out. But the main insurance, and this is just a recommendation, obviously you consult your insurance folks and you figure out what your needs are, but like, is general liability is a big one. And think just kind of slip and fall in your office. There's more that it will do for legal representation and stuff, depending on the circumstance. Contingent auto liability is a big one that I see a lot of people or freight brokerages specifically miss. But this is getting more and more prevalent, especially if you go through Texas, Nevada, California, Louisiana, Florida, any of these like big litigious states. And that's basically if your motor carrier gets in a bad enough accident that they deem that they're going to name all parties involved, you still have to defend yourself in suit. And let's say it's a $20 million lawsuit, like, you can be drug into that as the freight broker because of due diligence and stuff. Contingent cargo, obviously everybody knows. Errors and omissions, thank you, Sonny. Yes, that's something that professional liability, it's basically, as a broker, you're acting in a professional capacity, and you maybe just created negligence, either knowing or not knowing, but unknowingly, where you didn't do due diligence, you shipped it to the wrong location, which therefore caused damage, or you you cross loads, like you sent a sheep to the zoo and you sent a lion to the petting zoo, type thing. It's a silly, simple thing. But cyber is a huge one though. So this is where, and like you mentioned coming into this, is like the fraud. So cyber and crime insurance, so that there's, there is some obviously threat. You guys work online, you work with customers' data a lot. So like data breach, ransomware, wire fraud. I mean, you come with like, hacking incidents, fraud against you guys. So there's some social engineering coverage that sometimes can apply in the event of fraud to protect you guys for recoveries or fraud recovery and that kind of stuff. Plus, if you guys are hacked, I mean, you guys get those notices. Hey, you get 12 months free, whatever identity theft thing that they offer. you have an obligation if you are the subject of something like that. So you got to take some steps that you have to do as a business owner there that most people don't know, nor would they want to know. It's like, the insurance will just take care of that. Right.
Yeah, it's dude, and that's the thing, man. It's I look at with where we are, and you brought up about brokers being pulled in on if that back accident's bad enough. And I think it's I think there's I didn't send you the article because I broke it down yesterday on the show, and now it just remembered like TQL here is they just lost something in one of the circuit courts, and now it's like being here, I'm gonna pull it up here quick, but it's being pulled like they might have to go to the Supreme Court about this. And then like CH Robinson had another one where they were pulled in, but it's about the carrier selection strategy and stuff like that. And I mean, like I was saying yesterday, like I don't know if enough brokers actually understand how much they cannot tell a driver, like in regards to routes and directions and stuff like that, man. Like you have to be like very, very basic out there. And then another thing is, man, is you have to be able to prove that you didn't tell a driver to do something and then have them unfortunately get into an accident. And if it's, heaven forbid, it's a fatal accident as well. If it can be shown that you as the broker told them to possibly do something, like, man, you're fucked in that situation.
Yep. You're 100%. Yeah. Because the attorneys are just going to look at the facts, right? And look at the evidence and try to create this narrative or case against, because they're just going after money for the family or for whatever the case is, like whatever they're after in their own pockets. Let's call it what it is for attorneys on that sometimes or most time. But you know what I mean? That's where vetting care, your motor carriers thoroughly. And if you're specialized freight, and that's why I love and I'm comfortable with you, Chris, especially referring clients and stuff, because you're in a niche where you understand it so deeply that you would know instantly if somebody is qualified or not qualified to move whatever you're shipping, but if you're this broker that you just bid everything and you're over in the oil field here, and then you're over in cannabis here, and you're over in, you're just kind of across the board in all these different lanes that it's like, well, how do you really know if this person's qualified if you don't even fully understand it? Maybe you do, maybe you're amazing, but I think specialization and do like a few different fields is really good, especially with the deep understanding and building up that Rolodex and building that carrier base, getting referrals from your customers that you trust, that you can get good word of mouth on, that can help open doors into other trucking companies or customers for you. That kind of stuff's good, right? So
yeah, dude, I think it's man, we're in a like this going to the if this goes to the Supreme Court, I don't know if it's actually going to make it there. But I mean, I think it probably will, because CH Robinson and TQL are two of the brokers that were like named in these are separate cases, you guys. I put the link to the article in the chat on YouTube, and then we also have it in the show notes from yesterday. Again, I'm not here to say anything about CH Robinson and TQL as an operation in particular, but they are the named brokers there's two separate lawsuits that are here. And based on the size of those companies, they have the lobbying power to make it get to the Supreme Court, right? So I feel like this could be one of those ones that could make it there. And I want to be, again, I hate that accidents happen and that there's fatalities out there on the road. But at the end of the day, you guys, as a broker, you need to be very aware that you could be drug into this, and you can potentially play a part in it depending on what you do and say. And again, I need to be very cautious about like what I say on here, because I don't want anybody to ever say, oh, the fucking freight coach told me to say this. But as a broker, it's like providing them with the address to the shipper is about as much as you can do in there, and like get an ETA from the driver. And you cannot say, I mean, and again, you got to be very careful about what you say at that point.
I honestly think consistency and documentation are the biggest things that can help or hurt you. But if you show and maintain consistency, it's defendable. And honestly, the cost of insurance, I mean, when you're starting, let's be real, guys, when you're new and like you're grinding from the beginning and you're just getting up and running in customers, insurance is a little bit more expensive, right? It costs a little bit more, especially as an unexpected expense. But once you get established and going, and I'm saying you should still get it from the beginning, like absolutely, because you'll get put out of business quick, like very quickly if you had a claim. But you're probably looking at anywhere from 1%, maybe a little less than 1% to 1.5% of just your gross revenue for insurance costs. So if you're doing 6 million and gross sales, you're probably somewhere in the anywhere from 40 to probably 70,000 in insurance. And it's such a wide range because of obviously the unique needs for excess liability and all these different things. But like, to keep it super simple, we're working with this one customer. I think they're about 1.5 million in sales, and they have everything though. Like, this is like the full package, the full suite of everything that they need. And I want to say it was like just about 10,000 for the year for everything.
Yeah. It's one of those ones, man, where it's like in a day and age as a broker where, technology, and there's a bunch of stuff being thrown at you about what you actually need. I want to keep it as simple as this for people. Like, I know it's not required by law, but like, you need a TMS, shout out Revenova, and you need insurance. Like, those are like the two things that you outside of your business license. So I don't want to fucking hear any of that stuff, but like a TMS and insurance as a broker, those are the two things you actually need. And yes, I understand insurance is not required by law, so I don't want to hear any of that either. But if we're going to go out there and make a difference in the industry and get out there in the shipper community and get real customers, man, that will be a decision on if a shipper works with you or not. I hate to break it to you and be the bearer of bad news, you guys, but the legit shippers that everybody wants to work with, you better have cargo insurance as a broker. Otherwise, you probably won't be bidding on their freight. You might be a couple instances, but like, it's not the norm out there, at least from my experience.
Yep, I agree, man. No, for sure. And I mean, obviously there's payment plans and stuff, and I think it's conversations too, because like, if you come to me and you're just getting started and your exposure's, not where it's going to be eventually, or you don't have these contract needs, like, we're not going to just sell you every single thing. You can still pick and choose, and you can still make a decision as a business owner. It's just my job to educate. That's all. Or find out what your needs are and get you in the right direction and say, hey, even if we can't help you. And I've talked to numerous people where it's like, dude, your program's great. Like, your pricing's good. It's like, sit tight. Do you trust who you work with? Do you like them? Like, you're comfortable? Okay. Like, we're, keep us in mind maybe down the future, but like, you're good where you're at, bud. Like, sit tight, so like, I'll review stuff and give feedback too. I mean, it's not just like we're out just to sell it and make money. I want to help. I want to bring value. So
no, I love it, man. And that's one of the reasons why I love having you on the show and love tossing people your way about it as well, man, because I know you'll take care of them and you're not just out there to make a buck. But well, hey, dude, I appreciate it, man. How's anybody reach out to you guys to find out more about what you got going on, Cam?
So probably valleytruckinginsurance.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can hit up Chris because he has my cell phone, so he gives that out regularly, which is just fine. Or Cameron at valleytruckinginsurance.com. You can shoot me an email and I'd just be happy to chat or connect, or depending on the region or state or something, I might connect you with someone closer to you too that I trust that's on my team. So
perfect. Cam, I appreciate it, man. That's going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show. If you're feeling really ambitious after this one, which you should be, rank the show on iTunes and Spotify, because if you saw it, chances are your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang, window down, yelling out money, anything. Ayy, ooh, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the back. Ayy.